Hey guys, I've been collecting watches for about 2 years now and making reviews for one, and I figured it's about time to do a annual State of the Watch collection video. This is my State of the Watch collection for 2020. Let's do it. So I first got into watch reviews with the intention of just documenting the different watches that I've come across over the years and kind of documenting the evolution of my collection. And so I think it only makes sense for me to start with the first mechanical timepiece and really the one that started it all. And this is the Fossil Townsman. So I actually found this guy on sale at a Costco. I absolutely love the design. It was a very large watch. This is a 44 millimeter watch. I still don't understand why the heck Fossil makes such large timepieces, but this was the one that started it all, and so this is going to stay in the collection forever. This guy is, I still think, quite gorgeous in terms of design, but realistically, I don't really wear him just because he's so freaking large. Next up, I have the Hamilton Jazzmaster Open Heart. So this watch was actually a gift from my girlfriend for my birthday. And so this was my first, I would say, serious timepiece or entry-level Swiss luxury watch. I still think this is the most gorgeous watch that I have in my collection. It gets the most compliment from the public. And what's not to like? Beautifully decorated ETA movement, great brand with American heritage, gorgeous design, and you can kind of see that I'm into the skeletonized watches. Not too crazy, mostly open heart styles, but this one just checks all the boxes. Next up, I have my Zelos GMT Horizons watch. So this is a relatively recent release from Zelos. I pre-ordered this guy the moment I saw it because it just checked all the boxes. Sapphire sandwich, it's got GMT functionality, it's got an ETA movement with a custom rotor, well decorated, and it's got 200 meters water resistance. So I actually reached out to Elshawn, the owner of Zelos, and wanted to review this watch, and so I got a nice deal out of it as well. Of course, I still paid good money for this, but it's one that's going to stay in the collection because it just checks all the boxes. A perfect beater, perfect travel watch, go to the beach with it. And in particular, I would say this is my favorite buckle actually among all my watches. There's actually a tapered polished bevel on the buckle. And so just amazing attention to detail from a micro brand that's just known to offer great value for money. And I love the green. So next up, I have my Omega Seamaster. Now, this was a watch that I bought to celebrate a new job that I had, and I just always wanted a one-watch collection type of watch, a watch that I can wear, in the boardroom and on the beach shore, and this Omega Seamaster will fit that criteria perfectly. In fact, I owned a older version of this watch, the actual Skyfall edition, and it was just a little too large at 42 millimeters. I sold that watch and I decided to buy this one at 38 millimeters because I loved the way the rubber strap integrates with the case, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous watch. Great bang for buck as well. I would say Omega really utilizes the real estate in terms of the larger case sizes by giving you really good specs in terms of movement and resistance. So this guy's staying in the collection. He's probably the watch that I wear the most out of all. Next up is my Rolex Air King, the latest addition to my collection. And I kind of put this guy next to the Omega since they're most commonly compared to each other. Now, this is where my taste in watches began getting a little strange. I started looking for the off-beaten path type of watches, and so the Rolex Air King met this exactly. I never wanted a Rolex. I thought the gold-fluted bezels and the Cyclops dials are just way too much in your face, kind of too show-offy. And so this Rolex Air King fit the criteria perfectly. It's a very unusual model, discontinued back in 2008. It doesn't even look like a Rolex. It almost looks like an absolute joke and fake, quite frankly, but it's real, and it has history, in fact. I have it on a Theo and Harris Jean Rousseau strap. I just thought that this paired so well with the orange numerals, and it's kind of funny that these straps remind me of the Louboutins, those very expensive heels, and so kudos to Theo and Harris for making this strap. I can do a review later, but I will say aesthetically, very, very pleasing strap. And so this is my Rolex. Kind of moving on with the trend of odd watches that people don't usually think about. I have a Zenith Prime here. So what's so interesting about this watch is that unlike the Zenith El Primero, which is probably what Zenith is most well known for, being the first automatic integrated chronograph, this is a manual wind chronograph from Zenith. So ironically, it's like they're spitting in the face of their own heritage by creating a manual version of what they're most known for. And so I just think this is an absolute farce, and I think it's hilarious. And so that's kind of why I added this watch to the collection. I also think the aesthetics is just very pleasing. It has the perfect balance of a vintage watch. These guys were discontinued back in 2000s, and so it's a 20-year-old watch, and it certainly shows its age, but very, very lovely dial. It's very difficult to film here, but it's actually more complex than a matte. It has kind of a glitter finish to it, and it's very gorgeous underneath the right light. Next up, I have my Swatch System 51 System Through. Now, this is one of my earlier purchases, actually, right before my Hamilton. It's when I thought I wouldn't be spending that much money on watches, and so I wanted a watch with heritage that could be recognized, but also has a lot of fun factor on it. And this watch fit that criteria perfectly. I thought the date wheel is very interesting, having it exposed. Again, I mentioned I'm a fan of seeing the mechanical movements. The System 51 is a watch rich in heritage as well in terms of being horologically significant. The Swatch Group is obviously very well known. It's the conglomerate that owns the likes of Breguet and Omega and Hamilton. And so this watch is kind of just a middle ground. It's my ramp up into some real hot timepieces, but I still love it and I still keep it to this day. And last, and I would say least, is the watch that I'm trying to get rid of, and this is my Orient Esteem. So this is not the Orient Bambino. Perhaps I would like this watch more if it was. I will say I have a couple of complaints about this watch. I know Orient's an amazing brand. I actually really rated them very highly when I did the review, but I do regret purchasing this particular watch. One, it doesn't have an open case back. Two, the dial itself, and you can see it here, it kind of dents in with the furnishing, and so you really feel like this is a $100 watch, which it is. And so I really purchased this watch right after the Fossil. It was kind of my entryway into mechanical timepieces, and I wanted a dress watch. I bought it, and I don't really wear it, quite frankly, but I still keep it nonetheless. I still think Orient's a great brand, and so here it is, the Orient Esteem. So this is kind of my hodgepodge watch collection that I have so far for 2020. I'm hoping to acquire a moonface piece. That's probably going to be what's next. Off the collection was I sold my Nomos, my Omega, as well as my Bell & Ross over the course of the year. I'll do a different review video on that and why I sold those. But until 2021, this is going to be my 2020 State of the Watch Collection video.